Okay, we are back and it is pretty much dry. There's a tiny dot down here to be aware of, but the rest is dry. So let's burnt sugar first, the little touch up around the eye. And then we're going to have a little practice. Doing numbers small enough. Okay. Let's go on the watch face. So I've got an even smaller brush. I think this was a 1. I've got a 0. So I'm going to see if that is small enough and if we can get enough precision to do at very least the 12, the 3, the 9, 12, 3, the 6 and the 9. So let's just use this. Let's put her up there for a second. And let's just see. And it hasn't been an hour, it's been about half an hour. I really want to crack on now. Let's see if we can just get now. Will that transfer? Because this is flat, this isn't dimpled like the canvas is. Let's try it. Because it's going to be small enough. Okay. And then we'll just put little marks in. Okay, now I was thinking of doing the big hand in Stormy Sky and the little hand in something darker. So the minute hand in Stormy Sky. Keep you there for a second. And the hour hand in either black or Aftershow. And then make the little pin that holds the hands in black. Let's first of all no touch-up needed. The eye is actually okay, it's just the light I was looking at. I thought I could see pencil, but there wasn't. And the fingers aren't so bad. So, well, you know, not that that's okay that they're not so bad. They're better than I thought they were. So again, once that Stormy Sky had dried, the little tiny specks of white that I could see left have gone. So once we've got this done, there is a tiny piece of touch up there in the Aegean. There'll be white in the background. So do we start that? Do we dare start whiting the background while we're waiting for the clock face to dry? We might dare. Let's keep these here, and the aftershow's over there. Let's be bold, let's be brave. Put you up there for a second. So we're going to start at the top. We're going to do the mane first, and then we'll go around and touch up the edges, because there's a bit of speckling here and there where I've flicked paint. So I'm just going to make sure there's no little bits of dust or debris. I don't think there is. I think these are all just speckles. So we're going to start up here and work our way down. I'm going to be using the big brush on the whole because we've got a lot of big areas, and it's going to be an interesting job doing it with that one, but we are going to use this for when we go around. We want to keep those nice crisp edges. So we'll probably perhaps start going around here first, and then whiten out, and then so a bit of chopping and changing. I need scissors again, which I can just about reach. Let's give that a good stir. Put that up there. Again, we'll use the white end. You know, I've got some clean water as well. We'll still use the white end so as not to muddy the paint. Maybe a jolly good stir. Right, let's start maybe in this little nook. So that's going to all be small brushwork around here. Now this might take 2 coats, we'll see. It's white on white, but it does apply very well. It's just a case of how well we can see where we've been. There might be certain points of black that we go over again at the very, very end, but it's going to be minimal. I think we'll take this point, come back here, that we're in line with that hat, continue around here and then swap to the big brush for a moment. And come straight across here maybe. So I'm going to do that. Swap to the big brush temporarily. I'm going to be very diligent and clean our brushes in between, even though it will be tempting to leave them because you're constantly going back to them. We're going to want to keep them nice and crisp. It might take longer than you expect, and this paint dries very quickly. It's going to be very satisfying as you're doing this, is watching all the blemishes and the smudges and the splatters slowly disappear as you white over them. I'm going just over the edge because that's going to give us a little bit to work with when it comes to doing around the side. We want to go right up. So do remember as you're turning it that top edge is going to be wet. I think I've already touched it a few times. Right, so we're going to clean that off down there. Give that one a wash. And like I think I've said before, you want to keep them clean and you want to keep them dry so they don't affect the consistency of the paint as you're putting it down, and so they don't go crunchy. Back to the fine one. I'm going to come around here and across. Giving ourselves about 5 mil or so that when we add the big brush strokes there's no risk of it wiping into the work that we've done. or minimal risk. Any nooks where it nips in, we'll bring them out so they're pretty much level with whatever is going on out here. So again, you haven't got to risk pushing the brush right in there. Aware of my zippers well at this point, because right over the edge we've just painted. We are going to clean this brush and swap to the big one again. To come, oh, my necklace keeps trying to do a runner. Come right across this top corner here. Nice and clean, nice and dry, nice and ready. I think we'll go like work our way down. Right. Yes, I can't remember if I said it or not. I did have a brief look to see online a closer, more detailed image of Picasso's Femme à la Montre. Again, apologies if that is severely butchered. And it was interesting, 'cause apart from I saw that the numbers weren't in detail, they weren't all there either, they were little splodges. So that's okay. I made the executive decision to put the numbers in. So the mother-in-law wanted it to say to read 12 o'clock for personal reasons, and to save confusion on whether I'd put it at 12 o'clock or 6 o'clock based on the way someone might wear their watch as opposed to it being painted, I decided to put the numbers in. But yeah, that aside, one of the things that I saw, like one of the sort of articles about it, was Picasso's secret lover. So that was interesting. This is potentially the secret lover of the man's. Plus I had another thought as well. Now I'll have to check this one. So I do know around this time, loose hair, loose women. And this woman doesn't appear to have her hair up. But I also thought, and I'm not too sure on this one or the time frame on this one, but I know at a certain point in time, only ladies wore hats essentially. So there might be a lady after all. I guess we'll find out. She was a secret lover, potentially. So yeah, that would be interesting to read more. So I might read up more on that. See what information I can glean and share with you all. But also, yeah, I will definitely check about the hats thing, just out of curiosity. I know at a certain point in time as well, only well-to-do people had gloves. There were some weird laws back in the day. I think at one point when transport, like buses first came about, you couldn't go on them if you didn't have gloves because you weren't well off enough to pay for your ticket. We don't want any of those either. No bristles. Right. Tiny bit up there. Let's clean and dry the brush again, and then we're going to come down here. Maybe even that little triangle as well. Again, nice clean dry brush. Ready for next time. I'll try and move this from below the halfway line so I don't run my fingers through all the paint and risk smudging random places. Yeah, I think, but I know, well, I try and remember the exact name. I know one of the other canvases she'd like me to do was the violin. I think it was just called that as well, just the violin. And I'm imagining they're all going to be in the same colour scheme. So that'll be interesting to do. One of them is work of folded paper, which is going to be turned into two. I can't remember what that one's called. I think it's just called Woman's Face of Folded Paper, but it's clearly like half a woman's, half a man's. Or in our eyes it is. The other one, I can't remember what the other one was called. It was another female figure. That's going to be a really big one. So this one, that one, those two, that big one. And there's two others somewhere, but I can't remember if she was still thinking about those. They were faces from pieces of bigger work. For some of them she wasn't a particular fan of the piece as a whole, but she really loved the faces. And I think they're all going to be of similar size to this one, or same size. Carefully maneuver this. When you're working close to a curved edge like this, where it wraps over, you want to stable your hand as much as you can. And again, put little to no pressure down, otherwise you have risk of it flicking up all of a sudden. And when we come across this bottom edge here where there is paint, we're not going to go right up to the edge, we're going to bring it back a tiny bit. We don't mind if a little brush stroke goes under the edge. But we don't want the white to then bleed into the paint job that we've done. We want the image that we can see to be the image that we can see. Right, back to big one. Make sure he's nice and dry. I don't know if you can hear that, not my little girl. They both dream quite a bit. Marley dreams quite a lot. She's sleepwalking right now. Well, also, because we're over halfway into November now, I need to start recording and creating for Christmas to try and get them up in time. So I'm doing some very Christmassy ideas. I don't really want them afterwards when people won't necessarily be interested, or if it's things they can make as gifts, it'll be too late. So I'm going to start that soon. I just really needed to get this canvas done. I know I've got more on the way, but I will, work on more than one project at a time at that point. I just want to give this one my undivided attention. I mean, each piece of work has my undivided attention while I'm working on it. If I start some of the Christmas projects now, I'll at very least be able to get them edited and uploaded ready for Christmas. I would say I've given this perhaps 2mm gap between where I'm actually painting the white and where I'm letting a little bit of the paint curve around. Right. We are going to clean that off a bit. Give it a wash, come around here, down here and down there, get that final section done. Then we will let it dry before we let it thoroughly dry before we come back and put the hands of the watch on and look at one, whether we need to give this background a second coat. Two, if not, do this bottom half of the edge so we're all nice and tidy. Very careful with where I'm leaning and what I'm resting over now. Back to big brush, and then we're just going to let her dry. Some dry. Now this time we are definitely going to let her dry for at least an hour before we consider coming back to her. What I might do, I'm just considering in my head right now, is going around and taking it quite far down. So we can go comfortably quite a way down. We haven't got to worry about running out. There's ample, probably 4 coats. We don't want 4 coats. Make sure we didn't drag it right up and through our paintwork. If you can hear me breathing right now, I've just realised the mic has slid, the angle that I'm sitting, the mic has slid right the way up. I'm almost kissing it at times. Last edge, and we are going to let her dry. Let's try to stop kissing the mic. think, like as I was doing the edges here, it's like I think the edges will probably not need a second coat, but I will probably do a second coat up top, just to give it that nice, flat, full colour image that we've got everywhere else. So everywhere else has had 2 coats, pretty much. Right, we are going to stop there, let her dry fully, before we consider anything else. But the only things left to consider right now that I can see are putting the hands in, which granted that might be one at a time. Again, it's such a small area, it won't take as long to dry. Those out. Yeah. So perhaps, yeah, putting the hands in for sure, first thing that we do when we come back. We might just give it that little brief moment, say like 5 or 10 minutes, because they're going to be so small, just to dry off, and then we'll add the other hand, let that dry, put the dot in the middle, and then re-white the background. Or we might put one hand in, start re-coating, you know, start giving it a second coat, put the other one in, continue with the second coat, put the dot in, finish the second coat. That's much more efficient use of the time. So we'll be doing that. She's looking really good. She's looking really good. My other half has since seen it in its near completion stage, and he does think she's going to love it. So, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. So, I am going to make another cup of tea, so I've let that one go cold. And there might be a tiny bit of life left in it. There is not, it's gone cold. Well, I'm going to make a fresh tea and give this at very least an hour. But I will be checking back regularly to see where we're at and make sure nothing has landed anywhere it shouldn't. Make sure we haven't got any white specks that have suddenly appeared, because sometimes it does flick that tiny little bit and you'll get like a random dot somewhere. But I think we're okay. And when in doubt, as long as as long as someone else is about, ask them to give it an eyeball for you, because you can't always see. You can go a bit paint blind sometimes. So I'll probably do that. Get my other half to just give it a once over his eyes, see if there's anywhere that I've missed or doesn't look as vivid as it could be. So yeah, back in a moment.